Hi everyone, welcome back to With All Due Respect. Today I'm speaking to Jacqueline Hooton, who is a personal trainer from the UK. She works with clients online and face-to-face in her private studio, which is called Her Garden Gym. And if you follow her on Instagram, you will see that she literally works out in her garden. It's really inspiring. She specializes in working with women in their 50s and 60s to get strong, fit and healthy and to avoid physical decline and enjoy optimal aging. And that's something we're going to discuss a lot today, is how to age actively and proactively as well. Jacqueline's now 59. She's one of the most positive influencers on Instagram that I know. She's always upbeat, always cheery, even when faced with adversity, which we'll talk about as well. She's also known for her inclusive and pro-aging approach and for challenging ageism in health and fitness. And I see that too. It drives me crazy. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Amanda. What a lovely introduction. Well, let's hope I can live up to that.
Yeah, don't let me down.
No pressure or anything.
Jacqueline actually got me to be a women's best ambassador as well. Jacqueline was posting lots of videos wearing these really cute outfits. And I was like, I want to wear those cute outfits too, and ended up working with women's best too. So we're both in that space and we really like the company for like it's, you know, diverse and inclusive message. Don't you think?
Absolutely. So important. I mean, I know we didn't mention this, but I went off to Austria with Women's Best recently to record part of the Women's International Day campaign. And that was so inclusive because the ambassadors they've got over there really represented women of different ages and with physical disabilities. And it was just lovely to be part of that. And I really love fitness brands that embrace diversity. It's so important. We see fitness brands, so many dominated by young women, especially. And so women our age group often turn around and say, well, do you have anything for my age? Or how would it look on me? So that's so important when we come back to that idea of engaging everyone in health and fitness. And yeah, I know we're going to talk about ageism, but yeah, so important.
Yeah, it's so important, and it just feels good to be really supported in that with that company. I mean, I chat with my associate in Women's Best all the time, and I'm like, what can we do next? What can we do next to encourage women to move as they age? You know, we know it's so important. We're both sort of in our 50s, and we're trying to be a good, positive example to women and show them that there's still opportunity. It's never too late, and all of those things. But you know, Jacqueline, we obviously have aged into this space, right? But can I ask you like a little bit about yourself, you know, to say, how did you get to this place? Like, what's your background? And then how do you think you become this like fierce ambassador for women?
To be honest, I've always been an advocate for women, women's informed choice and information. So I've got 5 children. So when and back when I had my first child.
Stop the bus.
Sorry, do you want me to just rewind?
5 children. Oof. Right. Impressive.
I've got 5 children and my eldest son is 32. And you back then, sort of 30 odd years ago, the opportunities for working part-time, whatever, were really limited. We didn't, you know, it was very difficult for women to return to the workspace. You're either fully in or fully out. So I left work at that point and started to do some work from home. And one of the first things I did was work for the National Childbirth Trust, which was about empowering and informing women about their choices in childbirth. And so that's kind of where my sort of health and fitness started, if you like, very much feeling very responsible and aware of how my health could impact my baby's health and well-being, because I needed to be fit and healthy. I wanted to educate other women about that after being through that sort of process. And that then developed and evolved into sort of more the fitness aspect of it as my children started to get older. So I worked with the National Childbirth Trust for a time, running courses for pre and postnatal women and their partners. But as I said, I kind of evolved into much more the fitness aspect. So that's my interests are kind of rooted back there. But and I've always been active myself. And then I guess I got to the point where I wanted to formalize my knowledge and then did my own sort of fitness instructor qualifications. Well, about 20 odd years or so ago now. And then also started to teach. So I was a tutor. I worked for a training company where I delivered fitness courses for people who wanted to train to be instructors as well. So I've had quite, it's kind of a very quick sort of whistle-stop tours to where I am now, I guess. And I've worked in big gyms and smaller gyms and part of big organisations and smaller organisations, but I'm very much a one-woman band now.
Yeah, and so now you see yourself in the midlife space as this one-woman band, as you say, but you're definitely somebody who very much is trying to encourage women that, our health in midlife is a real great indicator of our long-term health and our overall longevity, right? So I know you and I sort of beat from the same drum. It doesn't matter that we repeat ourselves, because I think it's a really important message. Can I ask you what you see as some of the limitations that women place on themselves in midlife? Because I know I have feelings on this as well, and I know that a lot of the time the work that women need to do isn't always from a physical aspect, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's so much going on for women at midlife. So very often women, their relationships are broken down. Sometimes they face financial difficulties. Bit of a sandwich generation as well. So they might have elderly parents or people who that they almost stepping into a caring role, and they might still have teenagers or older children who are dependent on them at university. This is very much my situation with older parents now who more and more they don't need care at this point, but they certainly need more of an eye kept on them. Perhaps there's that strange situation, that role reversal, isn't it? As we've turned from being the child and suddenly we feel like the parent of our parents. So I think there's a lot going on for women in midlife, and it's very hard to make yourself a priority, and particularly not all women have had children, but particularly for those of us who've had children, you're used to putting other people first. Your needs have often taken a back seat to everything. And this, over the years, kind of really started to impact a woman's health. And so this is the real point that we're talking about, is really how can we now step in and influence that future health trajectory? If we don't step in and take action, there's only one place it's going to go, and it's spiraling downwards and fairly rapidly. And what we're trying to do is slow down that inevitable downward slope as we get older. That's going to happen. We're just trying to slow that, and we're trying to make the age as healthily as we can, so we remain independent, enjoy our lives and everything else that we've got that we want to do in life.
And I think that that's something that's really hard to grasp as midlife, like in a real tangible way, because we're trying to say to women, that what we see as women get older is potentially they fall more. That's one of the biggest burdens on the healthcare system for elderly people, that they lose their independence. They can't live on their own anymore. And all of these things can sort of be looked upon right now in a like a protective way or in a proactive way, right? And so, but it sometimes feels really hard for that to be the motivator and driver, especially when I know like the fitness industry has so long focused on how we look, and how, and what fitness is supposed to look like. And we're now trying to say, fitness isn't just about like what the body you're in, it's about the life you can lead moving forward, right? And I know that you and I get very, very frustrated about like the expectations that the fitness community put on women. Can you sort of talk a bit about your experience on that? Because I know unsolicited messages about things like this.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like the fitness industry has been a great disservice to women over the years, a great disservice. And I think people like yourself and myself need to be loud and vocal about the benefits of fitness, because the emphasis has all been on looks and physical appearance and being smaller and being toned, and it's all been about aesthetics. And that to me is a great disservice to women, because I think what happens is when people don't get that sort of transformation, or they achieve something but then they haven't embedded all the habits that need to go with that, and it's not sustainable, they get frustrated, and it's like, fitness doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't suit me. So that I know that you feel really strongly about that as well. That's why we've got to redress the balance, and get people really interested in supporting their health. and doing fitness because they really enjoy it, and finding activities they enjoy and they can do consistently, rather than rocking up to do something absolutely detesting every single minute of it, then getting really frustrated because they're not really ripped and they're not really lean and they don't look like what they think a fitness model should look like, and then they go, well, fitness isn't for me. So I think that's really important. And yet we talk about unsolicited messages, and I put something up the other day about this because it was just like, how dare you, how very dare you. So I put a comment on one of my, and I like go, hello, 5 children, I've had 5 children, all right, but even if I hadn't, there is no way someone should be saying to any woman, I think you need to tone your midsection, and the way you can do that is 400 sit-ups a day. I mean, hello, where's your fitness qualification, first of all? That's not going to happen. But also, to me, that say things like that to someone who works in the fitness industry, and I'm by no means obese, we know that. What do you say to everybody else? There's such a problem when we tell people, we give them unsolicited opinions about their bodies. And that all comes back to that idea that fitness is, you should look like that, whether you're in fitness or doing fitness or training in fitness or exercising, therefore you're going to look like that. And that is really, really wrong. And I can understand why so many people then get very anxious. They don't want to go to the gym. They feel really self-conscious. It feeds into what some women's biggest fears about exercise. And so, yeah, I'd like hit that one straight on the head.
Jesus, Jacqueline, get off your soapbox. No, don't. But I mean, don't. That was exactly how I feel. That was brilliant. And, you know, my opinion is no one should ever comment on anyone's body, full stop. Never. And so the fact that somebody felt the need to do that, I'm just like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Because like, well, you're so much better than me because you handle it with a bit more grace than I would. But it was wrong that happened. And, you know, I remember World Menopause Day last October. I was so tired of the negative message around menopause about, you know, we should fear the symptoms. It's going to be a horrendous time. I'm not saying it isn't a horrendous time, but we need to feed women full picture narrative. And so I reached out to women and said, and you were one of them, if you've got any photographs of yourself doing an activity and you're menopausal, perimenopausal to postmenopausal, please send me them. I want to highlight and show what women, you know, can achieve. And how we all look different and how healthy can look different for us all. I had 500 submissions and not one person looked exactly like the other person. And it was just one of those things I was like, oh my God, this is just exactly what women need to see. Women need to see other women moving and being strong and not comparing. Stop the comparison. Stop trying to be, you know, something that's probably essentially maybe never going to happen to you. You know, like it's just like, we have to move away from it's all about the aesthetics. And you're right, it stops women going in the gym because they think that people are going to judge them. And it's awful. And I actually don't think that anyone would. I think it's more ingrained in us rather than, you know, projected from other people outside. Because I've only ever found the gym a really inclusive space. You know, and I think that I find that in general when I talk to women, but it's actually putting the foot through the door. And
exactly. Or an exercise class, or accessing, you know, an online trainer. That I think the problem is because I think you're right as well. You know, but gyms can be really welcoming places, and there'd be really good people in there, and people are just doing their own thing. But if we don't sort of attack that perception, if we don't keep putting the other side of it in, these people are still going to have real reservations about exercise, aren't they? So, but I accept what you're saying, that very much people's perception is perhaps not exactly what's going to happen. But you know, when you see stupid comments online, it kind of, and I think that, you know, what I experience is the tip of the iceberg. I realize I am speaking from a position of privilege, if you like, as a white woman in a mostly slim body. I can't imagine the comments that other women who are out there, who are in larger bodies, different ethnic backgrounds, the sort of daily deluge of comments they deal with. So that, I say that about me, but that was really nothing. I know that was nothing, but I'm not one to sort of shy away from challenging the attitudes when I see it, and it affects
So I
women.
think the challenges that I see are usually people of color, and people who are heavier and older women. They're the people that tend to get the negative comments about them online, that I've seen, right? But here's the thing that I might add to that. I also see tons and tons of positivity as well. Like if you look at the role models that we look at, people like John McDonald in her 80s, like that we can aspire to and stuff. Like I think that I'm hoping that the tide is turning, that we actually see that, we can be respected. It doesn't matter what we look like. I think
we can, but I think ageism is a big issue in society. I think that I don't think we're there with ageism yet. I think it's one of those isms that people don't even recognize they're guilty of, and until you point it out. And I think that is a real issue, particularly for women. It's always been a problem if you're an older woman. If you want to insult someone, still in the UK, you want to insult someone, call them an old woman. That's like the worst thing you can call someone. And oh my God, you called someone an old, it's a term to describe someone who's awful in some way. I know what we'll do, we'll call them an old woman. So that, I think we've still got a big issue with ageism, which is why I talk a lot about that. I know you talk about a lot about that as well, because we still need to tackle that. And it isn't, I think ageism affects women's health as well. It impacts their access to exercising. And because when we think we're old and we're past it, and we it's all downhill now and there's no joy left in it, and we're not going to look like that anymore, it kind of stops us accessing some of these things as well. So I think that's why it's not just like, we don't want to be called old women. It's because it limits women in what they think they can do and what's available to them. We need to challenge stereotypes there.
That limitation actually has an end result of being an impact on their like overall health markers, their loss of lean body mass, and all of those. We have data to show that. Like so it's terrible, and we do need to redress that. And I know that that's part of your movement as well. And so I've got two things I want to ask you. First of all, with regard to ageism, oh my God, it's rife. It drives me crazy. I see it in the workplace when I spoke to women there. I see it in when women go for medical help, they get dismissed just by the doctors, put up with it, shut up, get on with it type thing, that type of attitude. And then I see it in marketing. I see as we're not represented. We're not. It's starting to change, thankfully. We're certainly not represented in the fitness world. Like there's very few of us out there in our 50s, 60s, 70s saying, hey, we're still moving, we're still doing our bit. See us, please, which is actually why I did that video for menopause, because there was women in their 60s and 70s like saying, hey, I'm here, look at me. But then the other thing is the last part of that is the advertising that I see out there that literally is like, yep, we see you, you're getting old, we're going to target you, we're going to highlight all of your flaws, and this is the solution to it. And I hate this. It's just one of my biggest bugbears at the moment. And yes, and I know that's frustrating for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just would like to remove the description anti-aging, and I'm not going to have anything to do with any products or any marketing or any brand collaborations or anything that is feeding on this anti-aging. That's it's just it's an oxymoron, really, isn't it? It's like we're pro-aging, we're active aging, we're talking about healthy aging and optimal aging. We're not anti a whole group of people who are getting older. What a ridiculous notion. And that's such, to me, that type of marketing is so back in the dark ages. And we're trying to help people embrace the aging process, but in a really proactive way. How can we embrace this phase and do things that support our health and well-being, that then permeates into everything else in our lives that we're doing, with that's family, relationships, travel, everything else, really, if we're approaching that in a pro and supportive way. So goodbye anti-aging.
With a resilient mindset, exactly. And so with that in mind, I want to talk about the viral video. So a bit of background to those watching and listening. Jacqueline had the audacity to post a video of herself dancing to some country music in a pair of denim shorts in her late 50s. It was one of those videos. I watched it and I was like, oh my God, you're so cute, because you are actually quite adorable, right? And I looked at it and thought, this is so cute. But then something happened, didn't it? It was absolutely nuts. Can you just go through that whole experience?
So it was, at the time, it was a trending audio. So we know trending audios on Reels tend to do quite well. It was a country music type audio as well. So we've got a garden shed that actually looks like a Dutch barn. So that was, I thought, oh, I've got that. I've got a check shirt. I've kind of got the cowboy boots. I've got the denim shorts. Oh, here's a pretend cowboy hat from a local sort of eatery that we go to. And I just did the trending sort of dance that went with that audio. And the put really to and the words on top of that video was like, you know, don't tell us that 50 is the new 30 or it's the new 40. You know, 50 is 50. Or 58 is 58 or whatever. That was the whole point of it, was about embracing, not being ageist, basically.
Being here right now. Being here
exactly.
right now where you are, yeah.
So that was all, you know, that was the words on the video, and the caption was really making that point as well, that we're not trying to be 40 or 30 or whatever. This is what 50 is like. Or at the time I was making it was 58. You know, this is what 58 is like. Yeah, it's not like, oh, you look good for your age, which I just absolutely hate that description as well. But yes, yeah, so and then the world went a bit crazy after I posted that. So I will say, first of all, I will say overwhelmingly, because I think you said over, you know, the positivity. They were overwhelmingly, the messages were positive, the comments were positive, but there was this group of people who went on the attack, and it was like, you shouldn't dress like that at your age, you shouldn't make reels at your age, you shouldn't wear shorts at your age, the shorts are too short. A little bit of body shaming as well, you know, because you could see a little bit of my midsection because I had a sort of a shirt tied in the middle, and it was like, you know, why you're dressing like your granddaughter, and then really very, very rude, very sexist comments as well. You know, some ridiculous claims people were making about women who dress like that, were asking for goodness knows what. So really some quite disturbing stuff. As I say, want to come back to that, overwhelmingly it was positive, but it did, to me, really highlighted how ageism is alive and well. Yeah. It's alive and well and kicking, because so many people had such an issue because I was wearing shorts.
And when we say so many people, we're talking millions, right? I mean, how many views did it get?
11 million views.
Isn't that insane? Just because you wore shorts.
I mean, actually, really disappointing me. I could still walk in the supermarket and no one recognises me. And I was almost tempted to wear my shorts just to see, you know, can I just enjoy this moment of fame? But yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, the point really what came out of it was exactly the point I'm attacking all the time online, or, you know, highlighting, is how ageism impacts women. You know, do we tell 50-year-old men how to dress in the same way? I'm not sure that we do, but people had a real issue with a 58-year-old woman dancing. I danced quite well, you know, in fairness. I danced it exactly as the trending audio went, and what I was wearing. And just like, really, you're that worried about this? Yeah. And it was challenging people's perceptions, I think, as well, about what we're, you know, there are lots and lots of women out there who just are thriving in their 50s, but it was challenging people's idea. You're not wearing a twin set, and you're not looking really dowdy, and oh my God, you're dancing. It was challenging a lot of things that made people feel uncomfortable.
You handled it really well, I have to say. I think if you're on social media like we are, you tend to have a layer of thick skin, whether you want to or not. And I know I, you know, don't particularly get a lot of detractors, you know, even though I'm a bit more forthright. But when I do get them, I have to sort of take pause and just not react in an emotional way. I tend to just either ignore them and let the comments stay so people can sort of see the type of things that, you know, come up in my feed, or I'll take the time to try and put myself in their shoes if it's worth it. A lot of the time these people are trolling and it's not worth it, but I did actually like the way you handled it. You know, rose above it with an element of grace and just ran with the narrative and just kept continuing the message that I'm not going anywhere. Like,
I made a couple of follow-up reels about, you know, people said I was too old to wear the shorts, so you know, I carried on the theme and picked up on some of the key things that people had said. I didn't reply to a single negative comment. To be honest, I didn't need to. People were arguing in the comments anyway. It was hilarious seeing the back and forth of people having complete meltdowns with each other. But as you said, I left the comments there because I thought people needed to see what women are exposed to online, you know, what women are dealing with and how that ageism was showing up. And so, yes. So yeah, I left them there really, and they're still there. So
good. Yeah, go and check it out, guys. But if that exists for you, we know, like you said, we know it exists, and we can see how that would impact somebody, a woman who maybe has gone through some changes through menopause, because we all do, and we maybe feel a little bit different, look a little bit different, and then the idea that somebody then comments on that in a negative way, I can see how harmful that is. I hear how harmful that is, and we have to just fight back and stand up to it. But you know what I think you should do? I think you should get your shorts back on now the weather's nice, and I think you should do a new reel.
You know what? The weather is not nice here. But as soon as the weather cheers up here, of course, I just need that country music start again, and there we go. Yeah, exactly. I
think you should do something. I've got an idea. I think you should wear the shorts in the supermarket. You should go shopping and wear it to buy your tomatoes. You should go to the chemist wearing it. You should go into the baker's. I think you should just like do these little sound bites of me going, look, I'm a 59-year-old woman now and still wearing the shorts. You know.
You're just trying to get me going again, aren't you, Amanda?
So we'll just move on from this conversation slightly and talk about, I mentioned menopause. I know you've gone through menopause. You don't talk about it a lot, but you do talk about it as just one of the things that we experience, right? I know your message isn't solely focused on that. I think your transition was quite seamless as it goes, right? I don't think you've had a lot of the hard times that like some women have, or have you?
You know, I have. And I mean, this makes me really frustrated because I think the information around it, I wish I knew what I know now about menopause, because when I think back to my early 40s and some of the skin irritation I was getting, and no one was connecting the dots. And now I look back and look at some of the things I was going through and thinking, how come I was in the doctors with this and I was in the doctors with that and I was in there with that? And we didn't have the wealth of information that we have now. So I wouldn't say it was horrendous for me by any means, but I am deeply frustrated that the things weren't connected.
And I hear you for that.
And exactly. And also that, you know, we were very much still suffering from the flawed research that we know from the Women's Health Initiative. And so very much the attitude in the UK at the time back then was like, you don't need that, you're fit and well and healthy and all the rest of it. So that I would, you know, when I read other people's experience of menopause, I wouldn't say it was anything like theirs, but I've definitely had some real things that I could have done with better support about.
Yeah, like retrospectively, you're like, I know that was perimenopause now, right? It's funny when you hear women talking and they don't know. Like, you can sort of like see the signs and go, I think I know what that is.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not our place.
But I mean, you know, I do a lot of education around menopause, and I do, you know, support my clients through that. And there's so much I can do, but I'm not. I think a lot of people are going to get, it's like a tripwire now. I think a lot of people are getting stuck on menopause. And I know I know kind of where you're going with the views on this as well. And I think there's a real danger. We need to balance the conversation out. Yes, we know that for some people it's a really, really difficult time in their lives, and they need all the help they can get. Um, but I almost feel like, it's almost going too far the other way in the UK in terms of we need to. I know that doesn't sound quite right, because obviously I know women are still having problem accessing HRT if they need it, and getting heard, and getting the right support. But I think we do need to balance out the information about all the things women can do to support their health in midlife, as well as going down the medication route. And I'm not speaking from a point of anti-HRT at all, because I'm actually on HRT myself. And the reason I finally decided I wanted to try HRT was to do with problems with sleep. And so I wanted the help from progesterone. So I'm not doing it from an anti-HRT. I wouldn't say, like all things.
It's balanced factual
I'm always,
yeah,
exactly. I'm always, this going back to my NCT days, I'm always about informed choice. I think women need all the information so that they can make a decision that's right for them. So I'm not secretive about what I'm on, but I know how people can be influenced, and I don't want them to feel like, well, she takes, therefore I should, or she doesn't, and therefore I shouldn't. I'd much rather people look at their own individual situation, get all the information, and make a decision that's right for them. I think that's so important.
I liked that you said, I think we're stuck on menopause, and I think we can be, because it can be life-changing for a lot of women. But then I think that when we put things into perspective, there's so much other stuff we can piece up, like focusing on as we age, like it's one part of the conversation. Once, get informed, that's what we need, balanced information, so we can have informed choice with no judgment, just with the actual facts, without overstating benefits, without lying and trying to coerce women into doing something. I mean, I get really frustrated with that side of it.
Yeah, sure.
But then knowing that this is this shouldn't be a definition of you, it shouldn't define you. And I think that where I like your message is, you're now a postmenopausal woman who's like thriving and doing well on we call it MHT over here, like HRT, MHT, on that or not. It's still like something that women can do. We can still be strong, healthy, resilient post-menopause. I really want that message to stick with women.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, the reason I'm saying I don't want women to get stuck on menopause is like, this is why I'm talking about healthy aging. That's why I'm looking at women in, the 50s and 60s, is going, what next? Once you've been through menopause, I know you're post-menopause forever. We know the health implications, but what next? We need to think about the long-term health. And that's why I don't want everyone to get sort of fall down this whole menopause hole and never think about anything else. We've got to get beyond that and move through that. And I also think that conversation isn't happening enough, because a lot of women I talk to, they go like, I've done menopause, I'm been through that. And no one's really talking to them about the next stage. Women who've been through menopause and perhaps have dealt with that in whatever way and are beyond that, the conversation around menopause doesn't resonate with them anymore. So we do need to be talking about other things to serve those women. Does that make sense?
Well, that's exactly, well, it's exactly why I wrote my book. My book actually focuses on that and says, you can't just like turn off and just think, okay, what next? Like, you've got potentially 30, 40 years ahead of you. Let's make those the best years. We can do that from a physical perspective. We can do that from an emotional perspective. We can do that from an idea of changing the way we think about aging. Like, we don't have to think about aging as a negative thing. I actually like getting older. I feel like as every year goes by, I sort of like myself a little bit more. And I don't know why we should look at aging as being a detrimental thing. I look at my gran died. She was like the matriarch of my family. And, I remember like looking at her once thinking, she lost her husband, he died. He was older than her and he died. And then she just took off. Everyone knew her in her village in the UK. She used to go traveling all the time to Scotland and Wales on the bus with all the, her old friends and stuff. And I just was like, she's totally living life and she's not letting aging like stop her. it wasn't even a consideration for her. She's like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And I'm like totally going to be that person and not regret every year that goes by is like a
Yeah.
lost year.
But I think you're very lucky, Amanda, to have that as a role model. But I don't, not a lot of people do they? So I think sometimes when I talk to women and their feelings around aging, very often it's informed by what they've seen, who they've been surrounded by, their own relatives. And if you haven't had that example, then I can understand that it's quite challenging to see getting older as anything other than doom and gloom. I think that's why it's really important that people like yourself and me, we're talking about aging differently, so that if you haven't had that as a role model, we kind of challenging people's perceptions a little bit about what you can do and what life could be like, and help people make the right kind of decisions, thinking about their future. So I guess that's why, because we've had an aging population in the UK, and many people are in poor health, and we know from our statistics, we know women, experience the last 15, 20 years in deteriorating health in the UK. So the role models around, unlike your gran, who sounds absolutely fabulous, but a lot of women haven't had that. So I think that's why it's really important to tell this different story, to paint a different picture for people, so they see possibilities. Like you're talking about the Jones of the world. When women see that, it's, gosh, there's a woman who didn't get into fitness until her 70s. And wow, look, you can still be healthy and you can change your health around later in life as well. And that's why it's such a positive message, because it's not like she's someone who's always done training. She's come to it very late in life. So that's why we need these alternative narratives, I think.
And I think as well, to just like add on to that, like great response, is that I don't feel like we're the same generation as potentially our grandparents were, or even maybe our parents, as in the fact that, like, I think we know more now. We have more information about health and longevity. And so, and implementing those sort of positive changes in midlife is super, super important, and can actually have a real impact, as we said earlier, on our overall health, but potentially, other generations didn't have that wealth.
No, absolutely. So they didn't, and I think about my parents who went through, the tail end of the Second World War. Nutrition was different, their access to information. We had a paternalistic healthcare system. The doctor didn't even tell you what he had. Take those pills. That's what you need.
The doctor was smoking. The doctor used to sit there smoking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So life was very different. So we can't blame previous generations. They grew up in the times they did, and the women in the workplace, we didn't have equal opportunity. There are so many other aspects to this. We didn't have the Clean Air Act in Glasgow until the 50s. If you grew up in Glasgow before then, you were inhaling air that was bad, detrimental for your lungs. So much has changed. So obviously previous generations have lived through their times, and I hope things will get better and better, and I hope that we are the role models for next generation of women, and my daughters and my granddaughters.
Well, you are.
Hope it'll get better and better for them, really, for women, in years to come, we would hope.
Well, in fairness, they're not going to stand for it. I mean, I think about my niece and I think about your daughter. No, they're just gonna, they're not going to stand for any of the nonsense that we potentially have put up with regard to like aging and body image and any of those things. I love watching their attitudes, and we have to come towards an end now. We've talked and it's been brilliant. But Jacqueline, I would like to know, where would you like to see this conversation going? Like in the future, with your work and with the general attitudes of women, how do you see us evolving this ageist conversation in a really positive way?
I think if I could wave a magic wand, we wouldn't have ageism anymore. It wouldn't exist. We wouldn't need the word, because we've tackled it, and no, women are no longer suffering with the effects of ageism. It's no longer a conversation. We don't need to have it. I guess that's where I'd really like it to go. And I'd also really like it to become completely normalized for women of all ages to be active. It's no longer, I don't want to be the oldest woman in the gym. I think I am at the moment in our gym. I'm not sure, but I think I am. But I don't want to be the only 80-year-old in there deadlifting. I want there to be a community of women that I can talk to and say good morning to and all the rest of it. I don't want to be, oh, there's that old woman again. Do you know, I want it to be so normal that it's not even a conversation. You know, Joan is standing out because it's unusual at the moment. I think we've had older men in gyms for some time, but that's what I would like to change. That's where I'd like to see it going, that it becomes so normal. It doesn't even warrant a comment.
We don't blink an eye. I love it. It's exactly how I feel. Yeah. And I'll see you in the gym when we're 90, darling. Deadlifting together. Jacqueline, where can we find you, please? If anyone wants to follow you, your website, your Instagram, where's the best place to look?
So the same name, so Her Garden Gym. You'll find me on Instagram, and you'll find the website by the same name, Her Garden Gym, and it's the .co.uk. So, and I'm always happy to connect with people. It's lovely when people message me or come and follow me or come and interact. So that's always great. And I'm quite a sociable person, as long as you don't tell me to do 400 sit-ups a day to tone my midsection. Because we're just not going to talk if that's how the conversation's going to start.
But I'm telling you, you're literally one of the most positive people out there. So don't stop being like that. It's really, and every morning I'm not a morning person. In fact, I hate mornings, and I sort of peak at about 11 a.m. Like I get up and I'm sluggish, and she's up at like 5 in the morning getting the sunrise in, and I don't get the sunrise, so I live vicariously through you.
Yeah, that's me down the beach every single morning catching sunrise when the weather wants to play ball. It's raining today, but when the weather plays ball, I'm still out there in all weathers, but yeah, if the sun is shining, it makes it even better to be out there on sunrise.
Anyway, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Take care, and
thank you, Amanda.
Thanks everyone for listening. Bye for now.